and welcome to Inside Study Abroad. My name is Brooke Roberts, and today I'm talking to Michelle Kern. She is the MIT in Japan program manager, where she runs all aspects of that particular internship program for MIT students. And she's a recent graduate of the Lesley University Intercultural Relations program as of yesterday, right?
Yes.
Right, okay, great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And she's also a tweeter. She's on Twitter. That's how I actually met her. Oh, yeah. She's also a crazy tea fanatic, which has sort of become a little bit of a theme around here. So welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's get started. I want to know your study abroad story. So how did you get fascinated with all things international?
Well, I always loved languages. So I studied French, I did some sign language, and then my sister and I got really into Japanese anime and manga when I was early on in high school. Mm-hmm. And so we started teaching ourselves the language, and then I got the opportunity to take it at another high school in my city. So I got to go between two high schools every day, and my teacher there was really supportive, and he encouraged me to apply for a YFU scholarship to spend the summer in Japan.
Oh, awesome.
So I got chosen for that scholarship and spent a summer after my sophomore year of high school at an all-girls school outside of Nagoya in Japan, where no one really spoke much English at all. So it was an awesome opportunity to really get my Japanese way better and come back really excited to go back to Japan.
Right.
So I started volunteering with YFU to encourage other students to do it, and then I heard about a year-long scholarship to go to Japan that was brand new. So I figured, okay, I'll apply and I can do it after I graduate, which wasn't quite as common at the time. I didn't even know the term gap year.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, though. I did another year at a high school in Chiba Prefecture, then came back and started my undergraduate studies at University of Wisconsin-Madison in Japanese language and literature. Then I spent my junior year at Keio University in Tokyo, and actually lived with one of my host families from high school and commuted into Tokyo from their house.
That's
so that was really awesome.
So did you choose UW-Madison for that program?
I'm from Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
And so I had already, my senior year of high school, I was taking classes at the university. I had tested out of the high school levels.
Gotcha.
So I was already kind of in their program. I knew the professors. And so I got back with only a week before classes were starting. I got back from Japan. So my mom said pretty much you have to do your first semester at UW. There's no time to move.
Right.
And then I really liked it and ended up staying.
Oh, that's great.
They have a really great Japanese program.
That worked out really nicely.
It really did.
Yeah. Okay, so so you just finished your master's, and I just recently wrote a blog post about top grad programs, and Lesley was one of them. And so I obviously didn't go to Lesley's program. I've known a lot of people who have, and sort of what I know about the graduate experience based my article on that. So tell us a little bit as an insider in your experience there. What's one thing you really loved about the program? Was a great asset, and then another thing that it had a little bit to be desired?
What I really liked about it, and one of the reasons I chose it, was that I didn't feel like it pigeonholed you for a certain type of job or future. Okay. It's not just about education, it's intercultural relations in a lot of different contexts. Mm-hmm. So the program really gives you a good basis of just knowledge of different resources out there, different information, really gets you to think through a lot of scenarios and apply them to different areas. Okay. But then within that, you get to choose your own focus, whether that's education or training or international student advising, whatever that is, or you can just try a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So I really liked that aspect. I didn't feel like I was going to come out of it and feel like, okay, I'm always going to work in higher ed forever.
Right.
I worked in the corporate world after graduation just to try it out because I was afraid of getting stuck in one path and never going back to try it. So I decided to try it before I went to the Lesley program, and I actually really liked it. So the fact that program I felt could apply to going back into a corporate position dealing with international contacts really appealed to me.
Okay.
So that was really awesome about it.
Let's get the dirt. Yeah, no, just kidding.
One thing I did not like as much was there's a 2-semester cultural exploration research portion to the program. So it's not quite a thesis, it's much more guided and structured. And the good part about that is you get really important and valuable research skills in a really controlled environment where you get the time to kind of practice and learn everything step by step. The bad part is you're really limited as far as topic to deal with a local community group for your research. And I ended up with a topic that wasn't at all relevant to my goals or interests.
Oh, okay.
So I spent 2 semesters doing research that long term wasn't that exciting to me. Mm-hmm. So
but
I
bet that experience, just going through the motions of the research,
yeah,
gave you a lot of skills that later, as you're advising students about their experiences abroad or doing research or whatever, you'll be able to.
So I think the skills of that were really great.
Yeah.
As far as building the research skills. And I was actually able to create an independent study on a topic I really did want to do, which was international education for pre-med students. So I found I got to apply those research skills to my own independent study, and the actual research topic of that was really useful to me. Whereas my actual research topic for those 2 semesters really was not at all. So I felt like, okay, I built all these great skills, but my final product as far as research and what I spent all this time on is not something I really plan to use or do going forward. It was definitely interesting and a good experience.
Yeah, that's really good advice. That's really good advice. Because not everything is always going to be lined up exactly with what you think you want to do, but the skills you get from those experiences, you have to maximize those.
And some people find topics and groups that really do fit perfectly with what they want to do. So for some people, it turns out to work really well. For me, the actual topic turned out not to be as relevant.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, well, let's switch gears a little bit. Since you actually advised for a specific program in Japan, you obviously have tons of experience in Japan. And then there might be students out there, current undergraduate students who are thinking, oh, I've always wanted to go to Japan and study abroad. What's 3 pieces of advice you would have for anybody interested in maybe going to Japan for experience like that?
So my first one is you should definitely learn the language, practice as much as you can. I think it helps so much. People are familiar with it.
Before the experience or just during?
Yeah, before you go.
Okay.
People know English, people are familiar with it generally, but the more Japanese you know, the deeper your experience will be, the more people you can meet and talk to, and it just makes a huge difference. And the language and culture are so connected that by studying the language, you'll be that much more prepared for just life there and what things, expectations and everything.
Okay.
So that's one. The second one would be to think about and budget time and money for traveling.
Okay.
This is something I really didn't do, and I have not seen a huge portion of Japan. It's a beautiful country with so many places to visit and see, and some of my friends have really traveled everywhere and did everything, whereas I really know certain areas, and I don't know all the rest of it.
Right.
So I think, and a lot of my students now that I advise do this and take advantage of it and send me pictures of all these great places they go. I'm very jealous of that, and it's great that they're able to both kind of build a community locally, but really see a lot of the country at the same time.
Well, and I feel like with Japan too, I think there's sometimes a common misconception that it gets, especially with students who haven't traveled much, they lump it into all of Asia, and they think, oh, it's going to be cheap and everything, and then they get there and they, oh wow.
Yeah, I really didn't have the money resources to do it, but I wish I had thought about it more and tried to do a little bit more.
Right.
So my last tip would probably be to consider things that are not the big cities you've heard of.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of programs in Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, which are amazing places to live and visit and everything. But there's so many programs in smaller cities and in cities that people may not be familiar with that are really, really good programs. And by living in a more rural location, there's less of an international population to fall back on, so you get more immersed in the culture. You get to learn a really different aspect of Japan because it's not all Tokyo. It's so much different.
And I love Japan. I've been there twice for brief periods, but it's one of my favorite places on earth. I rave about it. Yeah.
And people who, it's a little intimidating to go somewhere that's further away and that you're not going to have that safety net. But I feel like you learn so much more. And my friends I know who have lived in those smaller cities really feel like they have this amazing experience and they met so many people who really took them in. And I really value that.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's related to that. So obviously, with everything that's recently happened in Japan, with the tsunami, the earthquakes, not in that order, obviously, and then the resulting nuclear incidents and sort of the craziness that's been going on with that. What do you have to say to parents, students, administrators, anybody who might be a little concerned about sending students either back to Japan or to Japan at all, who may not be as familiar with it as you are?
Well, I was actually there during the earthquake on business, so I experienced it firsthand in Tokyo. So obviously nothing like what they experienced in Tokyo, but I was there, and so I kind of saw the immediate reaction of people and saw what happened. I came back and then had to respond to my students and parents and hosts and everybody. So as long as the travel warning was up, I mean, that's really how a lot of schools make their decisions based on the travel warning. So I was obviously closely looking at that, but then also just talking to people in Japan, talking to all of our host companies, talking to professors at MIT and elsewhere, just to get a sense of what are the risks, what's going on, and I was openly communicating that with students who were sharing with their parents as well. So I think it was really just a matter of watching and waiting and seeing how things turned out. And once it was really, the US decided, yes, it is safe, and all of our hosts through the whole thing, said we absolutely want your students to still come. This is not a burden to us at all. Like, this is business as usual, and everything's getting back to normal.
Right.
So I was really happy that my students were not at all nervous about going to Japan. They all stuck with the program. They had a lot of questions, and we spent a lot of time over safety and emergency procedures, much more than I had last year. And so I think they felt very comfortable about that we were really talking through it and thinking through it. But I think there's risk anywhere you go, and you just have to look at all the resources and make a decision. We had one mother this year who really did not want her son in Tokyo. So I met with him, and we ended up relocating him to Osaka, which she was fine with. So it's kind of a matter of, it's not yes or no, it's
what are you most comfortable with?
With.
But overarchingly, the general consensus right now is that it's fine to go back. Obviously, maybe not to the devastated regions, but it's fine to go back to other areas of the country. Okay.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone.
All right, we only have 50 seconds left. Sorry, I gotta. One more question. So, okay, I want to know. I used to work in international internships as well, and it's one of those areas that I find just hilarious about students' expectations, specifically for international internships. So, what is a common misconception from your point of view that students have about doing international internships, and what advice would you have for them? Just one little nugget.
So for me, they really need to think about that if they're doing research or working in a corporate thing, it will be really different from what that's like in the U.S. I think we get a lot of students who think, oh, I'm doing an internship. I've done that in the U.S. I can do that abroad. And they don't realize how much cultural difference plays into like problem solving and hierarchy and responsibilities, and that you can't just, the same thing that you do at MIT, it's not going to work the same way, even though the theories and everything behind it are the same. How you get
Sorry, keep going.
That's pretty much it. We really try to spend a lot of time talking through those sort of differences you'll experience in work expectations and problem solving.
Besides like the actual business, they have this whole other cultural learning curve to get through, right?
Exactly. It's not just you make the job skills, but there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes.
And I find with students, sometimes, not always, because there's some awesome students out there who are prepared and knowledgeable about the stuff, but there's some students out there who, regardless of whether it's a domestic or an international internship, they just sort of think, well, I'm a finance major, so clearly I should be managing $1 million investment portfolio. I was like, no, I don't know that you're ready for that.
You get that too.
So, or I mean, and I'd hate to put too much out there on MIT, but you might have also a type of student at MIT who's sort of like, but I go to MIT. Like, clearly I should be doing this fairly high level stuff. And they're realizing, no, but you've only gotten through like sophomore level classes. Exactly. All right, well, okay, one more question as I ask everyone. If you could study abroad all over again, obviously you know Japan, and you're like always in Japan and Japanese language and culture, that's wonderful. But if you could do it all over again, and you could pick a new place to focus on, where would you go study?
I actually kind of had this opportunity when I was working at the UW-Madison Study Abroad office as a senior. That was when I really thought, I want to work and study abroad. And so I said, okay, I want to do something completely different. Where would I go if not Japan? What would I do? And I chose Ireland. So I actually did a summer program at Trinity College in Dublin. I studied Irish history, culture, literature, drama, for a summer in Dublin, and it was amazing. It was great to go somewhere and see the types of students who decide to do that program, as opposed to something that's as challenging and far as Japan. Ireland, trying to see like what are the challenges, being in an English-speaking country where the culture is different, the language is the same. So that was what I wanted to try, is something very different, another island nation, but a very different one.
Right.
So I did that. I had that moment where I thought, okay, this is my last chance to study abroad as a student. Where should I go? That's where I went, and I was really happy with the decision.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, well, that's it for now, because time is up. Thank you so much for all your patience. Just so everyone knows, we have a few technical difficulties before we started, but I think we're okay now. But it was really great to talk with you, and everybody, you can check out Michelle online. She's also on LinkedIn, so I'll have the link up on the video. You can check it out on Twitter at MLKern. Kern, Kern, and at MIT_Japan. We can follow along all the adventures of our students and what's happening at MIT. So thank you so much for being here, and congratulations again on getting your master's.
Thanks so much.